I'm Christine Hou. I'm here today together with our CEO of Virtus Asia, Harling. Today, we're very happy to have Matty Ling, the General Manager of Global Business Solutions for Southeast Asia at TikTok, joining us today. Matty, would you like to kick things off with a quick introduction for our audience?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, thank you for having me on the lovely Monday morning. As Christine mentioned, my name is Matty Ling, and I oversee global business solutions for Southeast Asia at TikTok, and I'm based in Singapore.
And Yan, perhaps you can also share a bit about yourself before we dive in.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jan. I'm the CEO of Virtus Asia. I have been previously on the client side, leading the global media teams for Huawei and Oppo, and I've also been dealing with a lot of countries across Asia when I was running the ATL, BTL, and performance teams for Foodpanda. And before that, I had a number of roles with media agencies. So I've seen both sides, and I'm very keen to explore the future of TikTok.
Great. Given the significant roles we all played in witnessing TikTok's growth here in the APAC region, both from the agency and client perspectives. So today we're going to dig deeper on this topic together with Matty and explore the opportunities with TikTok community commerce. As Yan and I were preparing for this discussion, we were struck by how rapidly TikTok has evolved in the region as a powerful driver for commerce and brand growth. So Yan had his very interesting first question to you, Matty. Yan?
Yeah, sure. So if TikTok, is it an entertainment hub? Is it social media? I'm not sure if I can give a great answer towards that. So I would love to understand, Matty, from you, how would you describe TikTok today? Is it more of a social media platform or is it an entertainment hub? And what do we believe are the growth opportunities for brands lying in the future in this region?
That's an excellent question. So I think, look, you're right. TikTok is not built off social graph. It's built off the content and the interest graph, right? On TikTok, you are doing much more. You stream, you scroll, you search, and also you shop. You shop on TikTok, right? Every month, over 1 billion users come to TikTok for inspirations, for entertainment, and for joy. And also from business side, there are millions of businesses of all sizes also turn to TikTok to reach, to engage, to convert, as well as building lasting and trusting relationship with their audience. And in terms of growth opportunity, look, since we're talking about Asia, if you look at most part of the Asia, with a few exceptions, maybe Japan and Korea, relatively speaking, it's a young region, I would say. If you look at the average age or medium age, right? It's very mobile first, right? And the e-commerce as an industry, as a vertical, has been booming and growing at 50 to 60% year over year in the past few years, right? So that really represents significant amount of business opportunities for all the brands and for all the agencies, right? I would encourage all the brands to look at growth opportunity via the lens of content, community, and commerce in order to drive reach, relevance, and the result from 3C to 3R, just to make it easier, right? And I just want to share with you some of the kind of research studies we have done with a third party as well, right? According to our research studies, we found 7 out of 10 users find new ideas, new products, new brands on the platform, right? And on TikTok, our users are also 1.8x more likely to join form of communities, to join the active discussions, to advocate to the brands they like, right? So if you can really kind of put all those metrics and the insights together, right? What it really means for the brands is that opportunity for all the brands not to reach and engage and convert with their existing audience and consumers, but it's also opportunity for them to develop and cultivate to build the brand equity with a future generation of fan base and audience, right? Which we all know is critical for all the business to drive sustainable growth. Last but not least is about commerce. As most of you, if I know, I assume all of you, right? We launched our TikTok shop in Southeast Asia first, about 3 years ago, followed by UK, followed by US last year, right? It really represents a unique opportunities from end to end, from discovery to purchase kind of solutions for all the brands. And we have been seeing that working out effectively and productively for all the brands so far.
Thank you. I think that's a very interesting perspective. If I may ask one more question, a bit more in depth on the exploration. So historically, search has obviously been one of the very potent exploration channels for consumers. And I think now with TikTok and the time spent, there's so much opportunity there. Can you tell me a little bit more about the exploration angle and how people that are going to TikTok are actually leaving the ecosystem to find out more about products and services?
Yeah, that's an excellent question, right? You probably heard some of the phrase or terms we have been sharing with the industry, with the market. We call it Shoppertainment, right? What does it mean is essentially it's a content-driven commerce that entertains and educates first, with shopping as a natural outcome, right? And if you think about that, it's really unique characteristics about TikTok versus other platform, other social platform, right? And entertainment, according to the research study we have done with BCG back to 2022, it really represents significant upside and growth opportunities for the region. And to give you some stats, right? For APAC alone, we're talking about over 1 trillion worth of opportunity by end of 2025. So if you think about where we are, it's really about 25 to 35% year-over-year CAGR growth, right? And in Southeast Asia alone, the number is about 500 billion, right? So that's what I meant by gold mining opportunities for all the brands, right? And for Shoppertainment, we also distilled some of the best practices and also the guidance distilled from various of industries, various of the markets. We called PACE framework, PACE. And what that stands for, P stands for persona. It's about how you can leverage TikTok's data and insights and to craft your audience and targeting strategy that fits your content and product, right? A within the PACE stands for assortment. It's your typical, I would say, hey, how you develop your product promotion and pricing strategy in order to attract and retain your existing as well as your future consumers. C within the PACE stands for content. As you can probably already experience on TikTok, we have a wealth and a different type of content experience. It could be live streaming, could be video, could be affiliate, creative, right? I think it's very important for all the brands and agencies to be very intentional. What kinds of content experience they want to push out, they want to use, they want to engage with consumers, right? Last but not least, it's E. E stands for enablement. And Yan and Christine, you mentioned that based on some of your kind of previous experience. It's very important today, especially today, for the brands to really re-examine, to reevaluate their kind of team structure, to really look at their kind of competency, to look at their skill set. Are they ready to seize the Shoppertainment, to seize the 1 trillion business opportunities in order to make sure that, hey, delivers the right content, right product to the right audience at the right time, right? And just give you an example, we have numerous kind of success stories. Just want to share with you one, right? Kiehl, right? It's a kind of skin and beauty product under L'Oreal, right? Last year, they wanted to expand and deepen the partnership with TikTok in Vietnam, right? So what they did is they launched, for the first time ever, they launched TikTok Shop in Vietnam as a new sales channel. And the goal and the objective was very straightforward. It's about driving incremental sales. Very straightforward, right? But as a result, what they accomplished within a very short period of time was astonishing because they followed the Shoppertainment kind of pace framework I just mentioned, right? So what they did is, even during their first months, kind of launch months, within the first 30 days, they hosted over 43 live stream sessions. And coupled with that kind of real-time engagement with the audience, like we're doing right now, right? They also coupled with our full suite of TikTok product, from live streaming ads to product shopping ads to video shopping ads, and also leveraged both their in-house kind of building experts as well as our creator ecosystem in order to educate, in order to deliver more like a storytelling to their consumers. And as a result, was astonishing. If we literally just look at the first 30 days, what they accomplished, they drove over 6.7 ROAS. And if you look at the industry benchmark, people, most of the time, brands will be happy if the ROAS is about 1.5, right? And they also drove over 43% live streaming GMV. Live streaming as a new, I would say, consumer behavior has been growing, has been adopted vastly across Southeast Asia especially. And also within the first 30 days, they were able to develop and cultivate over 10,000 new followers.
Thank you.
Right? So I can go on and on. For the interest of time, I'll just share one with you.
No, that's a really great case study. And having been on the brand side before, getting the internal resources isn't always easy. So I got two questions for you. One, based on the best brands you've seen in the market, fully capitalizing on the capabilities of TikTok. One, what are the KPIs that they should be looking at? And two, what is the secret sauce internally to have? And how could we inspire on this podcast today some of the marketing directors to go to their bosses and say, actually, I need a content studio, I need someone who knows to do live streaming. What could those elements be that they should be on their wish list? And then again, how to measure it?
Yeah, I think you nailed and mentioned a couple of kind of key factors, right? Look, at the end of the day, we all know our industry is ever-changing. We all know there's always going to be a constant shifting consumer behaviors, going to be always constant shifting content landscape, right? At the end of the day, I would say the most kind of burning questions and the most important questions that put in front of all the CMOs, all the CEOs, all the brands, in my view, is really about two things. And one, am I making the right investment? And the second, how can I drive incremental and positive ROI at a scale? At the end of the day, everything should be anchored on these kind of two most important questions. And frankly speaking, I do think Shoppertainment or content commerce, community commerce, depending on how you define that, I do think we're still at the early stage. Meaning, is this going to be a journey versus kind of one size kind of fits all approach for the brands? The strategy is a resource investment that's adopted by international brands that has thousands of different SKUs naturally should be different from mom and pop shop who only trying to sell two hero products, right? At the end of the day, it's going to be a journey, it's going to be iteration for the brands, right? And one thing I do think is very important, one, following the Shoppertainment, kind of the PACE framework, it's a very handy, it's a concrete kind of step by step, for the brands in order to operate. In terms of how to set up internal team structure, how can the brands really bring the media, the content, the commerce? Historically speaking, they tend to be siloed setup. In other ways, if I can be honest, right? So I think it's an honest conversation for all the brand owners to re-examine how they can equip with a team, with the right structure, with the right skill set, with the right ecosystem to support. Can just be number one, right? And the second, I think you captured very well, Yan. It's about measurement. You cannot manage what you cannot measure, simply put. You have to check everything. You have to understand the trends, the data, the insights, everything you do. right? From store operation to ad operations, right? So I would encourage all the brands to think through really via the lens of data-driven insights and operation perspective, right? Last but not least, one of the common feedback and the questions we tend to receive from the brands, the CMOs, the CEOs, hey, Maddie, hey, TikTok, how can we create and produce content at scale, at speed, at the friction of the cost we used to have, right? It's about ROI, right? So in order to make things easier for the brands, what we have been focusing on in the past few cycles, right? I joined some of the background about myself as well. I joined the company about 6-7 years ago, right? And have gone through quite a few iterations. From early days where we were broadcasting to the market, to the industry, hey, what is TikTok? Then we moved to the stage of, hey, why TikTok? Right? Now, I would say, if I simplify, it's about how. I think at this point, all the brands, if not all, majority of the brands understand the importance, understand the commercial potential of being on the platform, of being able to leverage all the full suite of solutions and the product on the platform. What does it need is hand-holding, training, education, consultations, kind of step by step. Hey, how can we use TikTok to produce TikTok-style videos, live streamings, working with creators, right, in order to maximize ROI? So what we have been doing is to develop for both first as well as third-party ecosystem to empower, to enable the content ideation, production, measurement, and optimization in order to create flywheel for the ecosystem.
I think some of the discussions already tapped into our next one. I think one of the honest areas we hope to tap into is the most challenges we heard from our Virtuous Asia interviews with global CMOs is usually the budget and headcount constraints we're all experiencing probably across every corner of the globe. So, and you also just mentioned clients are more demanding and the ROIs at scale, at speed. So can we dig a little bit deeper into the how TikTok for now? How, when we're dealing with the budget cuts while striving for higher performances, what does TikTok can bring to the table and that other platforms cannot?
I think you were cut off a little bit, Christine, but I think I got the question.
Okay.
So look, at the end of the day, what we want to focus on, right, as I mentioned, is to make things easier for all the CMOs, for all the CEOs, in terms of how to use TikTok, how to produce content, creative at scale. That's number one. And then secondly, how we can cultivate the whole ecosystem to empower kind of millions of business, thousands and can be millions of creators around the world to make the content creation easier. So essentially more users creating more content. So I think the cultivating ecosystem is another kind of focus area from TikTok kind of perspective, right? Last but not least, right? We also tend to, if I simplify that, TikTok is a global platform, right? And what I always encourage my team at TikTok is, keeping global heart, right? But operating with a local mind, right? It's always important to really understand the client nuances, the local nuances, the cultural nuances in different markets. Being Asia, we all know Southeast Asia is a market block. There's no universal strategy you can directly copy-paste from Thailand, where you are, Yen, for example, right, to Cambodia, Christine. So it's going to be a journey for all the brands, for all the C-level executive to really understand what's working for them and what's not working, and to keep iterating. I think being open-minded about testing out different hypotheses, developing different initiatives to measure everything, I do think going to be critical for the journey.
And we also talked a little bit about the cultivating the ecosystem area. I think that's also one of the honest area we hope to explore a little bit more. I'm not sure if you watched the Black Mirror. I'm a big fan of the episodes. And one of this year's release is talking about how can be impacted by the abundance of the contents today. Yeah, I think this is where we come from, the questions that within this growing numbers of creators, influencers, businesses in the regional market, how does TikTok ensure diverse and engaging content ecosystem that really supports the community or the commerce? How should brands and influencers navigate this space to maintain a balanced yet still thriving community?
It's $1 billion question, and I really like the show Black Mirror. Although I haven't caught up for a while, now I need to catch up. The new launch you mentioned. Look, TikTok's mission is to inspire creativity and bring joy. Everything we do, everything we are focused on, is really anchored on that. Keep that in mind. Everything from developing new products, new features, to launching new services like e-commerce. I mentioned in Southeast Asia and in UKs and in US, really anchored about, hey, how we can further inspire creativity and bring joy. And maintaining and cultivating rich, diverse, and engaging kind of content ecosystem, like you mentioned, Christine, is a critical element and a critical part of that, right? So what I mean by that, at the end of the day, at its core, TikTok is a technology platform, right? What do we do best is how we can empower the millions, the billions of users, millions of business and creators, how we can break down the creative barrier, how we can democratize the content production processes. So in order to make it easier for everyone to create more diverse, more content. That's number one, right? And also, if you think about the user experience, our proprietary recommendation engine really can ensure you have endless stream of content, right? So that's number one. At its core, it's a technology-empowered experience in order to maintain, cultivate diverse and rich experience, right? And the second, as I mentioned, right, what we are trying to create is a flywheel, how we can create first-party and third-party ecosystem tools, data insights, products. For example, recently at Cannes, one of the biggest advertising kind of festival globally in back June, we launched a new kind of creative product called Symphony, as well as TikTok One. So what does that mean is we kind of house all the different tools such as TTCX, such as TTCM. I know it's a lot of acronym, but if I simplify, essentially it's a kind of product suite. It's a platform. All the users, all the brands, so you can create hundreds, if not thousands of different creative at ease, at scale, at a fraction of the cost they used to work with their kind of content factory, right? So that's a very important part that we always try to encourage the agencies and brands to be part of the ecosystem, right? And from brands' perspective, I think in the beginning of the conversation of this kind of podcast, I think, Yan, you mentioned a few keywords, which I believe was very spot on: authenticity, right? And from brands' perspective, we always encourage a brand to be authentic, to be transparent. And at the end of the day, these are the two ingredients in order to build long-term and trust relationship with their audience, with their consumers. Is very important, for them to drive both short-term as well as long-term success, right? That's number one. And then number two, if I step back, look at where we are from industry perspective, two of the emerging kind of consumer trends we observe, right? One, about 80% of the consumers expected the brands to offer one-stop shop experience, right? From browsing to purchasing. They expect to have kind of effortless kind of experience on the platform when engaging with the brands. So that's number one. And then number two, 71% of the consumers, if you think about their purchase decisions, 71% of purchase decisions were not driven from discount. People tend to say, hey, pricing, discounting is going to be the most important element of kind of commercial success for e-commerce. But according to the third-party research studies, 71% of that is not driven from the discount. Rather, it's driven from the content they watch, they engage, they create from the brands. So if you combine these kind of two stats, what does it mean for the brands? It's critical for them to be authentic, to be transparent, and to be able to create content that's engaging, that's actionable, that's entertaining, that's providing the emotional needs and wants for the clients, for their consumers, right? So that's the few things we always encourage the brands to keep in mind in terms of maintaining diverse content, in terms of cultivating their kind of future generation of consumers.
I feel very strongly to that data point about discounting. Actually said 71% of decision making were not driven by discounts. We're every day immersed in the Cambodian market where most of the communication is about discounts. So I do agree with that. There's a tremendous opportunities for the engaging and authentic content. But we need another time to talk about authenticity and transparency. I think we're approaching our last question, and then I'll leave that to Yan.
Yeah, thank you. Super exciting topic. You've painted a very interesting picture about future growth across the region for social commerce. Now, we've been talking about what brands should be doing. I'm very interested as well to learn from the mistakes that may have happened. And I would like you to elaborate a bit on the pitfalls that do exist and what should brands avoid if they want to be successful on the platform.
Look, our views, there's no mistake. All the mistake means growth opportunity, right? And especially as we embark on the relatively new journey at the early stage, right? To simply put, to answer your question, Yan, and it's really about following and implementing the kind of PACE Shoppertainment framework we just talked about. It's based on the numerous studies, learnings, best practice, and pitfalls. You mentioned the Yan from different industries, different verticals across different markets. Right? It offers step by step, concretely, for the brands to follow, to implement, to learn, to iterate. Right? So that's number one. And if you want more details, check out TikTok, shoppertainment.com. Just plug in very quickly. You can download all the white papers, all the one-pager, five-pagers on the website. But if I step back, broadly speaking, a few things I think are going to be interesting and important for the operators, for the owners to bear in mind. One, understanding there's no kind of one size kind of fits all situation. It's always important to be open-minded, right? To really understand where you are in the journey and what's working, what's not working, right? And I'll give you an example. One of the most renowned international CPG brands, in their first 6 months journey on the platform, they did not chase the GMV growth as a sole kind of objective. They were also dedicating resources to develop A/B test, to set up operating system, to really understand, to really track and measure everything in order to understand which initiative, which part of the shop element, which part of the ad element, which ad product works under what situation, right? So they dedicated the first 6 months journey with us just to test out everything, all the different hypotheses. Then they focus on the scaling part of the business. So that's number one, to be open-minded about iterating, about test and learn. And the second, I mentioned that in the industry, broadly speaking, I do think it's an opportunity for the clients to reset, to re-examine how the structure was set up. For example, even as of today, you tend to have marketing and the media department. You tend to have content department. You tend to have e-commerce department. You tend to have CRM department, right? But in order to maximize the Shoppertainment, the commercial potential, you really have to bring everyone together. So you really have to make sure that everyone is operating under the unified KPIs. Right? To me, it's likely one of the most important and burning, I would say, task for all the operators and owners. right?
Sorry, just on that one, would you say then TikTok strategy is almost the CEO's job to make sure all the other department follow suit?
So look, for TikTok, we position ourselves not just as a marketing partner. We also positioned, we want to be the business partner for all the brands. What does that mean is we want as the CMOs, the CEOs, when they call us, we want to talk about the business problem, not just about the media ad allocation, ad investment, right? So that's very important for TikTok to really become consultative business partners for the clients, for all the brands. And to me, it's actually important for the C-level executive. What does that operating model look like within their firms, within their ecosystem? Right? I do think it's an opportunity and a chance for people to re-examine, because of some of the legacy, I would say, structure in the industry, right? And just finish off the question, right? The third element is everyone who have been using the TikTok, right? Creators play a big part of the ecosystem. We always encourage the brands to leverage that. It's important. We talk about authenticity. We talk about transparency, right? At the end of the day, people trust people, like people want to mimic the people who look like them, who act like them, who shop like them, right? And the creator for us is an important element of that authenticity experience to tap into the millions of micro kind of communities, as a tribe, as we call it. So I think we always encourage the brand to leverage our platform, our product, as well as kind of thousands, millions of mega creators, as well as micro level creators across the board.
Thank you, Maddie, for sharing such valuable strategies. As we explore today, the world of the content and the commerce on TikTok offers incredible opportunities, but it's really clear that success requires a thoughtful approach and a deep understanding of the platform unique dynamics. Maddie, it's been a pleasure having you with us today. If you like our episodes, click like and subscribe. And to our audience, stay tuned for more thought leadership discussions with industry leaders. Until next time.